Hi everyone, my name is Derek Marstaller and welcome to GamerBody. In this video, we're going to talk about a question I get asked quite a lot, and that is, should I do intermittent fasting? Now this question is a little hard to answer because I don't really know all too much about their lifestyle and everything that they do in a day, unless I worked with them directly, but the general question does come up quite often, and I want to provide some answers for you in terms of if you're looking to get into intermittent fasting. Now to start out, intermittent fasting is no more than a tool that can help you in a diet. Yes, there are many other channels out there as well as articles, news things, just everywhere out there telling you about the whole benefits of intermittent fasting, and I'm not here to bash any of those, but I'm here to kind of go over if it's right for you to start and if it's something that you can probably do moving forward. Now for this video, I'm only going to stick to the 16-8 intermittent fast, which means that you are fasting for 16 hours and eating for an 8-hour window. I'm doing this because I've not done any of the other fasting protocols, and I can't really give my full experience regarding like a 24-hour fast, 36-hour fast, alternate day fast, those kind of things. I don't have experience with those, but I do have experience with a 16-8, so that's the one I'm going to cover in this video. Now for me, intermittent fasting in a 16 to 8 is not that difficult. The reason is I've never really been one to eat that much of a breakfast. Yes, I do make it from time to time. When I work out in the mornings, especially if it's like a heavy day, I tend to gravitate towards having an earlier meal. I'll say around 10 o'clock, I'll make usually a breakfast. But when it comes to actually testing and using intermittent fasting, it wasn't hard for me to do. My schedule is set up as you start at 12 p.m., so lunch, basically noon, is when I started eating, and I could eat up until 8 p.m. So if you're working a standard 9 to 5 job, this is actually really easy to do. Most people can simply get by just having water, tea, and coffee, which are allowed when doing fasting. But if you're someone who puts a lot of sugar into your coffees, you may need to cut it out there and just have a standard black coffee, which I know most people think it's gross, but if you want to stay in the intermittent fasting, then you're going to have to do it. However, as of making this video right now, I do not do intermittent fasting, but I have done it for more than a month in the past straight on, and I want to give you my experience there. Now, I am kind of looking to go back into it. I do more of a eat at 10 and 11 and maybe stop eating around 7-ish. So I'm not too far off, but I'm not strictly within the 12 to 8 range as of right now and making this video. Now, why intermittent fasting works very well in terms of people losing weight is because they're restricted in the time that they can eat. Ultimately, this lowers the ability for them to overeat when it comes to calories, but do note that you still can gain weight while intermittent fasting because you can have a surplus in calories which will pack on the weight if you're not burning it off during the day. Intermittent fasting just makes it a little harder to do that. And ultimately, because it makes it hard to do that, your weekly calorie intake is probably going to be lower or below your maintenance, making so you lose weight over time, which is what you want. I like to look at them at weekly segments versus daily. So let's jump into the people that could probably do intermittent fasting well and see good benefits from it. The first person is someone who does not follow any kind of setup when it comes to an eating pattern. By this I mean they just eat whenever they want, and by doing so they find themselves out of shape and not progressing in the way they want to. With intermittent fasting, at least you're structured into that 8-hour window where you can eat what you want, but just know if you stick to the standard diets of having a higher protein style diet, and even a higher fatty kind of diet, I still like to have carbs a lot. I know there's a lot of the keto going around right now, but I tend to still have carbs for my workouts. So with that, when you have the higher protein stuff like that, it's still hard to overeat in the 8 hours unless you have very processed foods. Which gets me to the point of if you're eating a lot of processed foods in your 8-hour window, I actually don't really recommend this for you because you're not changing the lifestyle that got you to where you are in the first place. The next person who would do really well in intermittent fasting is someone who has a regular daily schedule, not one that fluctuates. For example, work. If you have a standard, again, 9 to 5 job, it's pretty easy to implement this in because things aren't changing from day to day. Now, if you have a structure in your job where you're going in at different hours of the day or you're taking people's shifts or whatever that is, it might be really hard to follow an intermittent fasting type of pattern. And my favorite benefit of fasting I like to give out is that it's free. Now that is awesome. I always try to look for things that are on the cheaper side. Yes, I will pay for things if I think they have long-term value that are worth more. But when it comes to intermittent fasting, with all the benefits that I see on the internet, even though I'm not covering them in this video, if you can do it for a long period of time and it's not costing you anything to do it, then by all means, at least test it and see if it can work for you. Now let's go over the people that shouldn't do intermittent fasting. The first and probably most important person that should not do intermittent fasting is someone who has an eating disorder. If you have an eating disorder, you need to get that corrected before anything else is attempted. Now, if intermittent fasting is the protocol that someone like a nutritionist or a doctor gives you to help you with it, then by all means do it. But you need to correct a disorder first before trying to do any of these other get fit quick schemes that are out there. If you're testing out intermittent fasting and you're struggling to not overindulge when you come off it, maybe intermittent fasting isn't the best approach for you right now. That doesn't mean you can't do intermittent fasting in the future, but you need to set up a healthy relationship with food. Intermittent fasting can actually help you get there, but you might need some more guidance in terms of figuring out a better eating schedule. Maybe you start with 3 meals and then you go down to 2 meals or something like that. That fits in the intermittent fasting lifestyle. But you need to make sure that you are not going crazy and just gorging on food as soon as you come off a fast, because you may just have worse results than you did when you weren't fasting. The next person who shouldn't do intermittent fasting is someone who overstresses and overthinks about intermittent fasting. This I got kind of caught up with, and I know a lot of other people that have. Many people have apps that tell them exactly when they can eat. They can't eat until noon, that kind of thing. Stressors like that actually don't help you in the long run. And the last one, which I kind of covered in the people that should do it, is if you have a crazy schedule in your life and things are going all over the place, especially if it comes down to work, where you don't know when you're going to be going into work the next day, things could change day to day, I don't recommend intermittent fasting for you. The best person for intermittent fasting is someone with a structured day every single day that they can look forward to, that they know exactly when their meals are going to come in at noon, and how many they're going to have that day, what time they're going to eat, have all that stuff like all ready to go. The people that are all over the place and don't know what's going on day to day are going to have a really hard time because they're not going to know when their food is really coming in or when they'll have time to properly eat their meals. And that's really about it for who should and shouldn't do intermittent fasting from my perspective. Now, there are other videos I've watched on this topic where they talk about women who are pregnant shouldn't do intermittent fasting, all that kind of stuff. But I just want to talk about the general person that comes up to me and asks about intermittent fasting, because again, it really is just a tool you can use that can help you stick to a schedule, possibly have a lower calorie intake in your day, and potentially get you where you want to go. Again, there are touted other health benefits that I've read and seen online. Now, I don't have actual results from that. I never actually got crazy results from intermittent fasting that I didn't see outside of my normal training schedule. But just know that there are other benefits that may in the future be more well known. But right now, they're just kind of spewed out there, and they've done like some kind of research, but then seems like all of the tests that they ever run have some kind of flaw to them that they come up with. So it's really back and forth. I know there's a ton of people who live and die by intermittent fasting, but remember, it is a tool that can help you. If it helps you, continue doing it. If it's something that doesn't help you, maybe you stop. But again, don't stop too early when you're testing. Make sure you run it for a little while to see if it will help you. If it doesn't, then you can move on to something else. But make sure that you're using it as a tool that benefits you, not as something that ends up stressing you out more as you do it. Alright, and that is it for this video. So I hope you did like this follow-up on the question I get asked quite a lot, which is, should I do intermittent fasting? If you did like this video, please like and subscribe to this channel for more videos just like this one. Also, if you'd like to work with me as well as see my current programming and all the stuff I use for my home gym, please head over to GamerBody.com and opt into my email newsletter. From there, you'll be sent over a huge webpage list of the things that I use for my home gym, as well as I'm currently running my program. Maybe I even go back to a gym, who knows? That'll all be in there for you to see. And that's it. So again, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Be fit and game on.